The Antarctic wind howled across the endless white landscape. Dr. Jack Morrison pulled his thermal jacket tighter as he watched his team work at the dig site. For 3 months, they had been following strange energy readings deep beneath the ice. Today, they finally found the source. "Dr. Morrison, you need to see this." Amy Chen's voice crackled through the radio. The young doctoral student sounded excited and scared at the same time. Jack made his way down the ice tunnel they had carved. The walls glowed with a soft blue light that grew brighter as he descended. At the bottom, his team stood in silence, staring at something impossible. A massive crystal structure rose from the ice, taller than a 5-story building. Its surface was smooth like glass, but energy pulsed beneath it in waves of light. The crystal seemed alive, breathing with a rhythm that made Jack's heart skip. "The readings are off the charts," said Dr. Frank Peters, the team's physicist. "This thing is generating more energy than a nuclear reactor, but I can't identify the source." Amy stepped closer to the crystal, her hand reaching out. "It's beautiful. Look at the patterns inside." "Don't touch it," Jack warned, but it was too late. Amy's fingertips brushed the surface. The crystal exploded with light. A shockwave of energy burst outward, passing through the team harmlessly but continuing up through the ice. The ground shook, and the crystal's humming grew louder. "Everyone out, now," Jack shouted. They scrambled up the tunnel as the ice cracked around them. Behind them, the crystal's light grew brighter, shooting a beam of energy straight up through 3 miles of ice and into the sky. On the surface, they watched in awe as the beam pierced the clouds and disappeared into space. Then something even more incredible happened. The sky itself seemed to ripple, like water disturbed by a thrown stone. High above Earth, where the atmosphere met the vacuum of space, reality twisted. A massive form began to take shape, made entirely of light and energy. It was humanoid but stood thousands of feet tall, its body crackling with power that made the aurora borealis look dim. The being turned its gaze toward Earth, and everyone on the planet felt it. In that moment, 7 billion people experienced the same sensation, recognition, as if seeing a parent after years of separation. Around the world, every screen, radio, and communication device activated at once. A voice spoke, not in any Earth language, but somehow everyone understood. "I am Terra Prime. I have slept for 10,000 years. The children of Earth have awakened me. The danger has returned." In Washington, D.C., General Sam Rivers stood in the Pentagon's war room, watching satellite feeds of the massive entity hovering above Earth. His aide, Captain Bill Jones, looked pale. "Sir, we're getting reports from every observatory on the planet. Something's happening to the stars." "General," Rivers frowned. "What do you mean?" "They're going out, sir. Starting from the edge of the galaxy and moving inward like something's eating them." The large screen switched to a view from the Hubble telescope. Rivers watched in horror as distant stars flickered and died, one after another, their light simply vanishing. Back in Antarctica, Jack's team huddled in their base camp. The crystal's activation had melted a perfect circle in the ice, revealing more structures below. Ancient buildings, preserved perfectly, surrounded the crystal tower. Amy sat at her computer, her hand shaking as she typed. "Dr. Morrison, I'm translating some of the symbols we found. This place, it's older than human civilization. Much older." "How old?" Jack asked. "At least 50,000 years, maybe more. And look at this." She pointed to her screen. "These symbols keep repeating. They translate to guardian and harvest and when the stars begin to die." The room fell silent. Through the window, they could see Terra Prime floating in the southern sky, a constant reminder that their world had changed forever. In orbit around Earth, the International Space Station, crew had the closest view of Terra Prime. Commander Lisa Park watched through the cupola window as the entity turned its attention to the stars. "Houston, we're seeing movement from the entity," she reported. "It appears to be reaching out somehow." Streams of energy flowed from Terra Prime toward the dying stars. Where the energy touched, the star death slowed, but it wasn't enough. Too many stars were failing too quickly. Terra Prime's voice echoed again, this time with urgency. The Void Harvester has awakened. It feeds on stellar energy, growing stronger with each star consumed. I fought it once before and forced it to sleep, but I was not strong enough to destroy it. Dr. Ellen Murphy, Earth's leading astrophysicist, worked frantically at her observatory. The data was clear but terrifying. At the current rate, the wave of dying stars would reach Earth's sun in less than 6 months. We need to understand what we're dealing with, she told her assistant, Tom Bradley. If this void harvester can consume stars, what chance do we have? As if hearing her question, Terra Prime responded through every speaker on Earth. Alone, you have no chance. But you are not alone. You are the children of the architects, placed on this world for a purpose. That purpose has now arrived. The world held its breath. In homes, offices, and streets, people looked up at the sky. Parents held their children closer. Scientists worked through the night. Military leaders planned for an enemy they couldn't comprehend. And above them all, Terra Prime stood guard, a luminous giant protecting a small blue world, while in the darkness between stars, something ancient and hungry turned its attention toward Earth. The stars continued to die, one by one, and humanity realized their tiny planet might be the last hope for the entire galaxy. Admiral Steve Baker stood on the bridge of the USS Titan, Earth's newest spacecraft. 3 days had passed since Terra Prime appeared, and the world was still trying to understand what it meant. Now, Baker had orders to make direct contact with the entity. Sir, we're approaching the designated coordinates, Lieutenant Dan Foster reported. Terra Prime is waiting for us. Through the viewport, Baker saw the massive Guardian floating in space. Up close, Terra Prime was even more impressive. Its body seemed made of living starlight, constantly shifting and flowing. Open all communication channels, Baker ordered. Suddenly, Terra Prime's voice filled the bridge, but this time it felt more personal, directed at them alone. Welcome, Admiral Baker. You represent Earth's defenders. We must speak of grave matters. Baker straightened his uniform. We're listening. Our world needs answers. The space around them shimmered, and suddenly Baker found himself somewhere else. He stood in a vast chamber filled with light. Terra Prime appeared before him, now human-sized but still radiant. This is easier for your mind to process, Terra Prime explained. What you see is a mental construct. Your body remains on your ship. Baker nodded, surprisingly calm. Tell us what we're facing. Images appeared in the air around them. Galaxies, stars, and worlds beyond counting. Then darkness creeping in, consuming everything. Long ago, beings called the architects traveled the universe. They were gardeners of life, planting seeds on suitable worlds. Earth was one of their favorites. They created guardians like me to protect their gardens. The images changed, showing other guardians on different worlds. Each was unique, adapted to its planet. But something went wrong, Terra Prime continued. The Void Harvester appeared. No one knows where it came from. Some say it's from outside our universe. Others believe it's the universe's way of resetting itself. It feeds on stars, growing stronger with each one it consumes. Baker watched as the images showed a massive battle. Guardians from across the galaxy united against a creature of pure darkness. We fought it. Many guardians died. In the end, I managed to wound it badly enough that it went dormant. But I was damaged too. I had to sleep hidden beneath Earth's ice waiting. And now it's awake again, Baker said. Yes, and it's stronger. While I slept, it learned, it adapted. The old weapons won't work anymore. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Wong and Dr. Kevin Smith worked in a laboratory hastily built around the Antarctic crystal. The ancient structures revealed incredible technology far beyond human understanding. Look at this, Lisa said, pointing to symbols that glowed when touched. It's like the crystal responds to human DNA, but only certain sequences activate it. Kevin ran another test. It's not random. About 1 in every 1,000 people has the right genetic markers the architects selected for this trait. Their colleague, Dr. Pete Harris, burst into the room. You need to see the news. Terra Prime is sharing information with our computers. Blueprints, formulas, technologies we never dreamed of. They rushed to the main screen. Data flowed across it faster than they could read. Ship designs, energy weapons, shields that could stop asteroids. Humanity was being given the tools to defend itself. In New York, UN Secretary General Maria Santos called an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered, old rivalries forgotten in the face of cosmic threat. We must unite, Santos declared. Terra Prime has made it clear. Alone, no nation can face what's coming. Together, as one world, we might have a chance. For the first time in history, the vote was unanimous. The United Earth Defense Force was created, with Admiral Baker as its commander. Meanwhile, ordinary, people around the world were discovering they had the genetic markers. Teacher Sarah Mills in Texas found she could interface with architect technology. Construction worker Joe Chen in California discovered he could see energy patterns invisible to others. Dr. Amy Chen, who had first activated the crystal, experienced the strongest connection. She could hear Terra Prime's thoughts, even when it wasn't speaking. "It's in pain," she told Dr. Morrison. "The battle with the Void Harvester hurt it more than it shows. It's using most of its energy just to maintain its form." Morrison frowned. "Is that why it's sharing technology with us? Because it knows it can't fight alone?" Amy nodded. "But there's more. It keeps showing me images. Humans growing, changing, becoming something more. I think we're meant to replace the Guardians." In space, Terra Prime addressed the world again. "Children of Earth, you were created with potential locked in your genes. The time has come to unlock it. Some of you carry the key. You will be the first to transform." Panic and excitement spread across the globe. The 1 in 1,000 humans with the genetic markers faced a choice: embrace the unknown transformation or remain human. Dr. Paul Martinez, studying the star death phenomenon, made a disturbing discovery. The Void Harvester isn't just feeding randomly. It's following a pattern, creating a path straight to Earth. It knows we're here. His assistant, Jenny Adams, looked at the calculations. At its current speed, it will reach our solar system in 5 months. But if it keeps accelerating, 3 months, maybe less. Terra Prime gathered its strength for one more message. The ER architects saw this day coming. They prepared you, guided your evolution, gave you the tools to survive. But tools alone are not enough. You must choose to become what you were meant to be. The first volunteer stepped forward. Captain Mike Johnson, a test pilot with the right genetic markers. "If there's a chance to protect Earth, I'll take it." The transformation began in Antarctica, with the crystal pulsing brighter than ever. Johnson stood in its light, his body beginning to change at the cellular level. Around the world, others prepared to follow. Humanity stood at a crossroads. Behind them, millions of years of evolution. Ahead, an uncertain transformation that might be their only hope. And in the darkness between stars, the Void Harvester continued its relentless advance. The age of humanity as Earth had known it was ending. What would rise in its place no one yet knew. But rise it must, or all light in the universe would fade forever. Captain Mike Johnson screamed as his body transformed. The crystal's energy rewrote his DNA, every cell changing into something new. His bones became denser than diamond. His muscles could bend steel, and his mind expanded to perceive dimensions beyond human understanding. "His vital signs are stable," Dr. Amy Chen reported, monitoring the process. "But his neural activity is off the charts. He's experiencing everything at once." After 6 hours, the transformation completed. Mike opened his eyes, now glowing with the same energy as Terra Prime. He stood slowly, testing his new form. "I can see it," he whispered. "The energy that connects everything. The patterns in space and time." Admiral Baker watched through the observation window. "Can you still understand us? Are you still human?" Mike smiled. "I'm more human than ever. Just upgraded. And we need more like me. The Void Harvester is closer than Terra Prime told us." 3 weeks later, Humanity had built its first fleet using architect technology. Ships that could fold space, weapons that fired concentrated starlight, shields that bent reality itself. Countries shared resources like never before. Factories worked day and night, and volunteers with genetic markers prepared for transformation. The USS Prometheus, humanity's flagship, launched with a crew of both regular humans and 20 transformed ones. Captain Mike Johnson commanded, with Admiral Baker overseeing the mission. Their destination, the Kepler system, where the latest stars had died. Jumping in 3, 2, 1, the navigation officer announced. Space folded around them. In seconds, they traveled farther than any human had gone before. But what they found made everyone's blood run cold. The Kepler system was gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Where planets and a star should have been, only darkness remained. Not the darkness of empty space, but something that seemed to eat light itself. Sensors detect movement in the void, reported Lieutenant Carl Young. Multiple contacts emerging from the darkness. Crystal beings materialized around the ship. They looked like shards of broken glass given life, each one the size of a fighter jet. They moved without engines, phasing in and out of reality. "Battle stations," Mike ordered. "These must be the Void Harvester's scouts." The battle erupted instantly. Human ships fired beams of concentrated energy while the crystal beings passed through shields like they weren't there. When they touched a ship's hull, they drained its power systems. Our weapons barely scratched them. Gunner Beth Adams shouted. Mike closed his eyes, feeling the flow of energy around him. "Wait, I can sense their pattern. They're not entirely in our dimension. Lisa, Nancy, help me." 3 transformed humans joined hands, their combined power creating a net of energy. They caught one crystal being, forcing it fully into their dimension. Now vulnerable, the ship's weapons tore it apart. "That's how we fight them," Mike broadcast to the fleet. Transformed humans work together, regular weapons finish them off. But for every scout they destroyed, 2 more appeared. The USS Dallas exploded when 5 scouts drained it simultaneously. The Beijing took heavy damage before jumping away. Then something massive stirred in the darkness. The Void Harvester's true form began to emerge, a creature of living shadow larger than Jupiter. Its presence alone made space twist and reality cry out in pain. "All ships retreat," Baker ordered. "We have what we came for. Jump now." Half the fleet made it out. The rest vanished into the darkness, their crew's final screams echoing across the void. Back on Earth, the returning fleet brought grim news. Dr. Paul Martinez analyzed their sensor data with growing horror. "The Void Harvester isn't just eating stars," he explained to the emergency council. "It's growing. Every star it consumes makes it larger. At this rate, when it reaches Earth, it will be massive enough to swallow our entire solar system in one bite." Terra Prime, weakened from maintaining its form, offered what guidance it could. The ancient weapons failed because the void adapted. You must create something new. The transformed humans are the key. Dr. Lisa Wong made a breakthrough studying the destroyed scout. These beings are made of crystallized space-time. They exist partially outside our universe. That's why our weapons don't work well. We're only hitting the part that's here. "So how do we fight something that's not entirely in our reality?" General Sam Rivers asked. Amy Chen, her connection to Terra Prime growing stronger, had an answer. "We don't fight it in our reality. We take the battle to its dimension." The plan was desperate. Use the Antarctic crystal to open a portal to the Void Harvester's dimension. Send in a strike team of transformed humans, and plant a bomb made from collapsed star matter. The explosion might destabilize the creature enough to make it vulnerable. In our reality. Captain Jane Williams volunteered to lead the mission. She had completed her transformation 3 days ago, gaining the ability to phase between dimensions like the enemy scouts. "We'll need at least 12 transformed humans," she said, "and we probably won't come back." Volunteers stepped forward without hesitation. Teacher Sarah Mills, construction worker Joe Chen, scientist Bob Taylor, pilot Jim Davis, ordinary people, made extraordinary by alien DNA and human courage. As they prepared, Terra Prime grew weaker. Its form flickered like a dying candle. "My time is ending," it admitted. "I used too much energy awakening. But you don't need me anymore." You are becoming the Guardians now. The Void Harvester's advance accelerated. Mars's monitoring station reported visual contact, a wall of darkness eating stars as it approached. 2 months remained before it reached Earth. Maybe less. In homes around the world, families said goodbye to transformed loved ones. Children drew pictures of the volunteers, calling them superheroes. The whole planet held its breath. Jane Williams stood before the Antarctic crystal with her team. Each transformed human glowed with inner light, ready to enter the mouth of darkness itself. For Earth, she said simply. For Earth, they echoed. The crystal flared to life, tearing open a portal to a dimension of shadow and hunger. Without hesitation, the team stepped through, carrying humanity's hope into the heart of darkness. Behind them, Terra Prime's light grew dimmer and the stars continued to die. The final battle was about to begin. Jane Williams and her team entered a realm of pure darkness. The Void Harvester's dimension was unlike anything they had imagined. No up or down, no light except what came from their own transformed bodies. Stay close, Jane ordered through their mental link. Our bodies are the only anchor we have to reality. Bob Taylor, the former construction worker, pointed ahead. Look, something's moving. Shapes writhed in the darkness, fragments of consumed stars, dying slowly as the void fed on their essence. The team moved carefully through this graveyard of light. Back on Earth, Terra Prime's form flickered dangerously. Dr. Amy Chen felt its weakness through their connection. We need to start the awakening protocol now, she told Admiral Baker. Terra, Prime won't last much longer, and we need more transformed humans. How many volunteers do we have? Baker asked. 50,000 with the genetic markers have come forward. But the process is dangerous. We've lost 12% of those who tried. Baker's face hardened. They know the risks. Begin immediately. Across the globe, transformation centers opened. The Antarctic crystal's energy was channeled through a network of smaller resonance crystals Terra Prime had helped them create. In New York, Tokyo, London, and dozens of other cities, volunteers stepped into transformation chambers. Dr. Kevin Smith monitored the process in Berlin. Neural activity spiking in all subjects. Their DNA is rewriting itself in real time. The Aigi screams echoed through every facility as human bodies rebuilt themselves from the cellular level. Pilot Nancy Bell in Houston felt her bones dissolve and reform. Engineer Matt Green in Sydney watched his skin shimmer and change. Teacher Helen Park in Seoul experienced her mind expanding beyond 3 dimensions. Not everyone survived. In Mumbai, 3 volunteers died when their hearts couldn't handle the strain. In Cairo, a man's transformation went wrong, leaving him trapped between human and something else. But for every tragedy, dozens succeeded. In the Void dimension, Jane's team found what they came for, the Void Harvester's core. It was a sphere of absolute darkness that pulled at their very existence. That's where we plant the bomb, Jane said. Jim, Joe, help me set it up. As they worked, crystal scouts materialized around them. But here, in their own dimension, the scouts were far more dangerous. They moved like lightning, their forms shifting and changing. Contact! Defensive positions! Bob Taylor shouted. The battle was brutal. Sarah Mills used her teacher's patience to predict enemy movements, dodging attacks that should have killed her. Jim Davis flew through the darkness, his pilot reflexes enhanced beyond human limits. But they were outnumbered. Tom Wilson fell first, his light extinguished by 3 scouts at once. Mary Johnson followed, sacrificing herself to protect the bomb. Timer set for 10 minutes, Joe Chen announced. We need to go. Not yet, Jane said. Look, the Void Harvester itself was moving, drawn by their presence. The massive entity's attention focused on them like a cosmic predator sensing prey. Run, Jane screamed. On Earth, Amy Chen suddenly gasped. Terra Prime is speaking to me. It says goodbye. The Great Guardian's form began to dissolve, its energy flowing down to Earth like golden rain. Where it touched, transformation chambers surged with power. The painful process became easier. The success rate jumped to 95%. "It's giving us everything," Amy whispered. "All its knowledge, all its power. We're becoming the guardians now." Admiral Baker watched the monitors as thousands of humans transformed successfully. "How many do we have now?" 42,000. "And climbing," reported Colonel Pete Foster. "They're already organizing, sharing knowledge through some kind of mental network." In space, the Void Harvester reached Earth's outer solar system. Neptune's monitoring station sent its final transmission. Before going dark, the Wall of Darkness continued its inexorable advance. Captain Mike Johnson aboard the USS Prometheus felt the change in every transformed human. They were connected now, a hive mind of individual consciousness working in perfect harmony. "We're ready," he announced. "Whatever happens next, humanity is no longer the same species that woke Terra Prime." In the void dimension, Jane's team rushed toward the portal. Behind them, the bomb's countdown ticked away. The Void Harvester's massive form pursued, reality bending around its presence. 5 minutes. 4. 3. Sarah's down. Bob Taylor carried, the injured teacher. "We're not going to make it," Jane made a decision. "Yes, you are. Go, I'll hold them off." She turned to face the advancing darkness, her transformed body blazing with defiant light. The others reached the portal just as the bomb detonated. The explosion rippled through dimensions. In our reality, space itself cracked like glass. The Void Harvester's scream echoed across the galaxy, a sound of pain and rage that made stars tremble. Jane Williams died as the portal collapsed, but her sacrifice wounded the cosmic predator. For the first time in eons, the Void Harvester bled energy into space. Back on Earth, 50,000 transformed humans stood ready. They felt Jane's death through their shared consciousness, and her courage became part of them all. Dr. Amy Chen, now the strongest link to Terra Prime's fading essence, addressed the world. "The Guardian is gone, but its purpose lives in us. We are no longer just human. We are Earth's defenders, humanity's next evolution." The wounded Void Harvester turned toward Earth with newfound fury. Its advance slowed, but didn't stop. The true battle was coming. Mike Johnson looked at the stars still dying in the distance. "Terra Prime gave us the power. Jane showed us the courage. Now we prove worthy of both." In transformation centers worldwide, volunteers continued to step forward. Teachers, doctors, soldiers, parents, ordinary people choosing to become extraordinary. The genetic lottery no longer mattered. Terra Prime's final gift had unlocked the potential in all humanity. As the Void Harvester approached, Earth prepared for war. Not as separate nations, but as one species, transformed and united. The stars might be dying, but humanity's light burned brighter than ever. The final battle would determine the fate of the galaxy, and humanity, Earth's newest guardians, stood ready to face the darkness. The Void Harvester entered Earth's solar system like a tsunami of darkness. Jupiter's moons went dark one by one as the entity passed. The wounded creature bled energy into space, but its hunger had only grown stronger. Admiral Steve Baker stood on the bridge of humanity's combined fleet. Beside him, Captain Mike Johnson's transformed eyes saw patterns in space itself. "It's angry," Mike said. "Jane's bomb hurt it badly, but now it wants revenge." "All ships, form defense grid around Earth," Baker commanded. "Transformed humans, prepare for energy link." 50,000 evolved humans across Earth and in space joined their minds. Dr. Amy Chen, now the primary link to Terra Prime's knowledge, coordinated the connection from Antarctica. "Remember Terra Prime's final message," she broadcast. "We don't just fight the void. We become something it cannot consume." The first wave hit hard. Crystal scouts poured from the Void Harvester like angry wasps. Earth's fleet met them with coordinated fire, transformed humans working with regular crews in perfect harmony. "Pattern 7, called pilot Nancy Bell. 3 scouts phasing on our left." Regular gunners fired where she predicted, destroying scouts before they fully materialized. The battle raged across the solar system's edge, humanity fighting for every inch of space. But the Void Harvester itself hadn't engaged yet. It hung back, testing humanity's defenses, learning their tactics. Dr. Kevin Smith noticed something in the sensor data. It's not just watching us. It's afraid. Jane's bomb showed. It can be hurt, it's being careful. Then we use that fear, Amy said. A plan formed in the linked minds of the transformed humans. We need to make it commit to a direct attack. The bait was Earth's sun. Using the architect technology, humanity began converting solar energy into a massive weapon. The process would take hours, and it would be obvious to the Void Harvester what they were doing. It won't let us finish, Admiral Baker said. It'll have to attack. That's what we're counting on, Mike replied. The trap was set. As Earth's sun dimmed slightly, from the energy drain, the Void Harvester finally moved. The massive entity surged forward, its scouts clearing the path. Here it comes, shouted sensor operator Kim Lee. All ships execute solar shield formation. The fleet arranged itself between Earth and the approaching darkness. Transformed humans began their true purpose, not to fight, but to change. Link. Established, Amy announced. Beginning quantum evolution. The 50,000 transformed humans did something impossible. They merged their energy patterns, creating a single entity of pure human will. Not losing their individuality, but combining their power into something greater. The Void Harvester slammed into this barrier and recoiled. For the first time in its existence, it faced something it couldn't simply consume. Human consciousness, creativity, and determination had become a force of nature. Now, Mike commanded. While it stunned, the solar weapon fired. Earth's sun, channeled through architect technology, became a spear of pure creation energy. It struck the Void Harvester's core, the same spot Jane's team had bombed. The creature's scream shattered asteroids and bent space itself. But humanity's barrier held. The transformed humans poured their combined will into the attack, refusing to yield. It's working, Bob Taylor shouted from his position. The void is destabilizing. The Void Harvester made one final, desperate attack. It reached past the fleet, trying to consume Earth directly. Tendrils of darkness stretched toward the blue planet. Not our world, Amy Chen's voice echoed through every transformed mind. Not our people. The merged human consciousness blazed, brighter than any star. They caught the void's tendrils and did something unprecedented. They began to heal it. What are you doing? Baker asked in shock. Being human, Amy replied. The Void Harvester isn't evil. It's broken. A cosmic function gone wrong. We're not just fighting it. We're fixing it. The Void Harvester thrashed as human consciousness flowed into its wounds. Creativity battled hunger. Hope fought despair. Love challenged endless consumption, and, slowly, incredibly, the void began to change. The darkness lightened. The hunger eased. Where the entity had been pure destruction, something new emerged. A cosmic recycler, breaking down dying matter to fuel new creation. By God, whispered Dr. Lisa Wong. We didn't destroy it. We transformed it. The Void Harvester, now healed and transformed, released all the energy it had stolen. Across the galaxy, dead stars reignited. Solar systems rebuilt themselves. Life returned to worlds thought lost forever. As the entity departed, changed from destroyer to renewer, it left a gift. Knowledge flowed into human minds. Understanding of the universe's true nature, the purpose of entropy, the cycle of creation and destruction. We did it, Mike said quietly. We actually did it. But the victory came with change. The 50,000 transformed humans remained linked, a new branch of human evolution. They could still think as individuals, but shared a connection that made them guardians of Earth and beyond. Dr. Amy Chen stood in Antarctica where it all began. The crystal still pulsed with energy, now resonating with human consciousness rather than alien programming. Terra Prime was right, she said to those gathered. We were meant to replace the Guardians, but we did it our way, not through power alone, but through understanding. Admiral Baker watched the fleet return to Earth. What happens now? What do we do with these abilities? We explore, Mike answered. We protect. We help other worlds as Terra Prime helped us. The universe is vast and we're no longer alone. Across Earth, families reunited. Some members were transformed, glowing with inner light. Others remained baseline human. But all were still family, still connected by love and shared experience. The stars shone brighter than ever before. The Void Harvester, healed and purposeful, moved through distant galaxies, recycling cosmic matter as nature intended. And on a small blue planet, humanity took its first steps as guardians of the galaxy. Children looked up at the night sky with wonder. Parents told stories of the day. The stars died and humanity brought them back. Teachers explained how ordinary people became extraordinary through courage and sacrifice. Earth's lost guardian was gone, but its legacy lived on. Humanity had faced the darkness, transformed it with compassion, and emerged as something greater than anyone imagined. The stars would never die again. Earth's children would make sure of that.